Like I said, I studied abroad in Cortona and wanted to be able to meet locals, seeing as I was in an American program over there. So I studied Italian just on my own between classes so that I could get out in the community and actually meet people. And of course, that opened the door to so many amazing experiences that I just never imagined I would get to have. Um, and I also discovered a side of myself that I didn't know existed, speaking another language. So I had this really world expanding experience and fell in love with this culture where I felt more myself than in my own home culture. And I came back. Eventually, I was in New York City working at an art gallery and started to network my way into the travel industry because I realized how much I loved connecting people to the places, experiences, the people in Italy that would make their trip so much more meaningful and give them a deeper travel experience, connecting with these things that they wouldn't have found on their own. So I started working at a luxury agency in New York City, and of course, I'm a mountain girl. I'm from the Appalachian Mountains of North Georgia, so middle of nowhere. And I knew when I moved to New York City that I would hit my limit, and eventually I did. Needed to make a big change and just kind of take a leap for it. And I had gotten a good grasp on how the travel industry works, all the different facets within it. And I quit my job. I actually left a 7-year relationship and I moved to Southern Italy where I worked for a tour operator. And shortly after that, in 2017, officially started Creative Edge Travel to help people have more meaningful travel experiences, to get off the beaten path, to get under the surface of the culture and connect with the local people. And so that's just a little bit about me. And if you have been following along for any amount of time, you probably know by now that I'm also addicted to gelato. You will always see me eating gelato and talking about it. Okay, now I'm going to try to go to the next slide and hopefully, okay. Did it change for you guys?
No.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Now it did, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, before we dive into the itinerary, I just want to take a minute and Cindy and I were kind of talking about this before everyone hopped on. Why, when we travel, do we go to main cities? Why do we go to the main cities? Is it because we've heard of them, so we have a sense of familiarity? We know people who have been. Um, it feels safe because it's a place that's world famous. We kind of know the sites they're there to see. We've seen it in movies. We have the sense that we've kind of not been there before, but we know what to expect, right? But think about it. If the whole world is traveling that way, going to a place that feels familiar, that they've heard of before, their friends have been to, then you're getting a version of a place that has changed to please the whole world. The whole world's going there, then it's changed to be able to accommodate the whole world. So you're getting restaurants that have stopped caring about the quality of the ingredients they use because they only serve to tourists who will never come back anyway. You're getting tours that have cut corners and costs to make it a more profitable business and run on repeat day in and day out. You're getting incredible famous sites, but you can't actually feel connected with what you're seeing because you're surrounded by a sea of sweaty tourists that are elbowing past you and people coming up to you to sell you things, right? So then what is it you're actually looking for when you travel? Why do you travel? Drop me a comment. Drop me a comment and tell me, why do you travel? I want to know. What is it you're looking for? Is it to reconnect with yourself and your partner? To learn something new, maybe? Is it to experience something outside of your norm? Or maybe it's to be inspired by a different way of living, like it was for me. And give me a second to actually figure out how to see your comments. Let's see.
I don't know how to write a comment.
Okay.
I don't do Zoom, so this is
That's okay.
the
There
first
should be
time.
it.
The first time I've ever done Zoom. So
Oh, well, welcome to the world of
yeah, I
Zoom.
don't like it. I don't like it.
So, there should be, for those of you who also don't know how to leave a comment, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see a little quotation bubble, top, like a little quote bubble that says chat. So you can click that and then, yeah. So Cindy says to see what life is like there. Absolutely. Let's open up our world and see how other people live. Okay. Oh, Cindy, you're writing to me directly. You should be able to comment to everyone in meeting. But anyway, let's go back to this. Okay. So yes, we want to have those type of experiences that make our life more meaningful, right? That open our minds and inspire us. Jean says, see new places, learn new things, have new experiences. Yes. Oh, it actually changed the audience window too that time. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if that's what you really want, if that's what you're looking for, you don't go to the crowded tourist sites just to check a box. You know, of course, there are trips where you want to see something that is world famous. But like I was talking to with Cindy, you want to make sure that you're not just going there just because that's like the thing you do on your first trip to Italy. You want to make sure you're only including famous places that have a meaning to you, that are going to add something to your trip. This is your trip, your dream. So don't just go there to check a box. But you also, if those are the kind of experiences that you want, then you also want to go to the little medieval village that hasn't changed for tourists, where you can just sit in the piazza and watch the comings and goings and how the locals interact with one another, right? You want to find a place with unbelievable beauty that's all yours because it hasn't been slathered all over Instagram yet. You want to go somewhere where the locals get curious about you and take you under their wing, to be sure that you get to see the best their town has to offer. And I would dare to bet that you want that serendipitous encounter that leads to an invitation to dinner in a local's home. Am I right? I see you nodding your heads. Yes. Comment yes if that's what you're dreaming of. If those are the kind of places that you want to go to, where you can experience the authentic everyday life of Italy, which is something different than just going to see the famous places. So say yes in the chat if that's what you're looking for. You want those serendipitous encounters. Yes. Okay. You guys are with me. Great. So make sure it changed. Yes, it did. Okay. So we've established that you're looking for more meaningful travel, right? And you want to go places that allow for that authentic experience where you can connect with the culture and the people. So tell me now, what kind of activities do you want to do when you travel to Italy? What kind of things do you want to do while you're there? Drop me a note in the chat. Tell me what do you see yourself doing when you're in Italy for that trip that's going to be so meaningful and fulfilling for you. When you close your eyes and imagine and dream of actually being there in Italy, what are you doing? What's the image? And I want you to dig deeper here. Get creative. When you say cooking class, you don't mean a cooking class with a teacher who's already taught the same class 3 times that same day with a big group of 25 people you've never met before. You don't want that, do you? When you say cooking class, you mean you want to walk into somebody's home, be handed wine from that family's vineyard, and learn generational recipes from the nonna, from the grandma. right? I mean, I got goosebumps myself, just like laying that difference out for you. Um, what a difference, right? Carol says having dinner in someone's home, helping them make dinner. Yes. Being part of their everyday life that to them is normal, but to us is extraordinary. And what an extraordinary opportunity to be in contact with a local person in their home. What an honor for them to let you into their home and into their life. Mary says, eat real pasta, hike, paint, photography, meet amazing, interesting Italians, make lasting friends. Yes, I love that. Love it. And what about shopping? Everyone wants to shop when they're in Italy, right? You've got leather goods, you've got ceramics, you've got olive oil and all the food things. But come on, you don't want to go to the market where you have to ask them to hold a lighter to the leather just to confirm that it's real leather, right? Where the vendors aren't even Italian and the money doesn't even stay there in the community. That's not sustainable. You want to visit an artisan studio, hear their story about how they fell in love with the craft, who they learned from, how they learned, see them actually making things before your eyes and be able to buy straight from the artisan. Is that the kind of shopping experience you're looking for rather than the market where, you know, it's not even Italians and you're not sure if it's quality, if it's real, if it's authentic? Put artisan in the chat if that's you. Right? Artisan in the chat if that's the kind of experience you want to have when you're shopping in Italy. Yes. So you see, there's a difference between going to Italy to check things off a list and going to Italy for that meaningful, transformational life experience that deep down we're all craving for. We're craving for that thing that's going to open our world in a new way, reveal a certain part of ourselves that we have shut down from whatever it may be, our job, our relationship, saying yes to everybody that's asking for things from us. It could be a whole gambit of things that have shut us down in some way. Travel gives us that key to open back up, to go back to our passion, to go back to that childlike curiosity and to light our souls up again. Okay. So you see now the difference between just going to check off some boxes and going to have a transformational, meaningful experience in Italy. But there's a problem. There's a problem. Access. Access is the problem. How does someone who doesn't speak Italian, who doesn't want to really rent a car and drive around in a foreign country, and doesn't have a ton of time to stay and build connections and friendships and relationships that kind of help us open the doors to those kind of experiences, how does someone like that, who by the way is most of us, plan a vacation with those types of places, those types of experiences, and that kind of amazing immersive trip they're dreaming about? They don't. They simply don't. They can try. They can try. They can say, okay, well, instead of going to Rome, I'm going to Siena, which is a little bit smaller town, and I'll take the train to those smaller villages and get off the beaten path. Yeah, sure. That's a start. But they still don't speak Italian. They still don't have weeks or months to spend there building friendships and connections that invite them deeper into the culture. And they also might not realize without having been there that Siena is still full of tourists, and they might not know where to go to find those authentic villages that they want to get to. A lot of people spend weeks doing research to find hidden local places, reading blogs and looking at top 10 lists and things, only to find when they arrived that so many other tourists read that same blog post, right, and showed up too. So without having been there, without having that local insider knowledge, it's just hard to know what you're going to get. And even if they do know where to go, they're going to exhaust themselves trying to figure out how to reach those villages with public transportation. I can tell you that. And dealing with all those details and logistics, it's a lot. I deal with logistics and a million details for a living, y'all. It's a lot, those logistics. So, access. How does someone go straight from not knowing the language, not having local contacts, not knowing the area, not renting a car to have access to reach these hidden places? How does someone go straight from that to being under the surface, getting into the heart of the culture, meeting people, connecting with locals, and having these immersive, authentic experiences with hardly any other tourists around? Wow. So, this is exactly why I founded Creative Edge Travel. I wanted to be that bridge for people to go straight to the heart of the culture without the work. We do the work for you. All you have to do is show up, and you get to benefit from the relationships that we've built, the partnerships we've created, the experiences. Some of them we've created from scratch ourselves, myself, with my partners, with my friends. And the expert curation of activities that we spend so much time meticulously thinking of every detail and how one thing leads into the next and how you're going to feel after having just done the wine tasting. Well, you want to then go on a hiking tour? No, you just had wine, you want to chill. So we're the ones sitting there and thinking about all of these details to make sure you have the best possible experience, and especially one that is meaningful. So you may not agree with me. That's fine. You may want to take that whirlwind tour to all the tourist attractions in a group of 50 people on a giant tour bus. I've met someone that I was talking to her about my stuff, and she said, well, I just really like the 50 people giant tour bus thing. Great. That might be your thing, and that's fine. But if you felt yourself saying yes while I've been talking, if you felt your heart start to jump around and get excited, and if you felt yourself lighting up and started picturing yourself having these type of experiences in Italy, then stick around, my friend, because I'm going to tell you all about our next trip with Creative Edge Travel to a hidden corner of Tuscany this October. And this is a tour we'll be doing every year for the foreseeable future. And for those of you who, felt aligned with this philosophy that I've just described, this trip could very well be that dream come true for you. That's up to you. You have to think about, what do I really want from this? So if all of this aligns with you, then this could be that dream trip come true. So this is called Living Slow in Tuscany. This is the trip. And it is for 7 nights, 8 days, October 17th through 24th. It's in an area called the Mugello Valley. It's north of Florence, which is important because everybody goes south of Florence, which is where the Chianti area is. A lot of well-known villages there. But it's beautiful. There's some beautiful places, but it doesn't have the same feel and atmosphere, same authenticity as Mugello does. All these little quaint villages made of stone, medieval villages, just quiet little farms, beautiful countryside, local people. You won't find so many other tourists at all. And so I'm going to go through the day-by-day itinerary with you now. So day 1, we will pick you up from your B&B in Florence, and we'll go straight to a cheese farm where you'll get to meet the animals and learn more about the process of cheese making and how it's done. Of course, we're going to taste the cheese, absolutely. And then we'll go and wander a quaint little village called St. Agata, which I'll show you in the next slide. And then we will go check in, give you a chance to relax and settle. We'll have a welcome aperitivo so we can get you guys acquainted, start to warm up and relax, have some fun. And then we'll have dinner on the farm. So this is St. Agata, the little village that we'll go wander. Isn't it beautiful? So dreamy. Yeah. Day 2, wake up and have breakfast, and then we'll go truffle hunting. So the farm has its own reserved truffle hunting area. Things can get very competitive with hunting for truffles because they're very valuable. Um, so we'll take the truffle hunting dog with us. His name is Leo, and he'll help us sniff out some truffles, and we'll learn all about it. And then we'll come back for a truffle themed lunch. And then you'll have some free time. You can decide to stay on the farm and just have some free time. You can take a walk on the farm, visit the garden, play bocce, which is a traditional Italian game. There's a pool you can hang by. Can't promise it'll be warm enough to swim, but it's a pretty spot to hang. Or you can come with us into town to have a workshop with a master leather craftsman where we can make something with our hands. I should have got out the wallet that I just made in the summer. It was a really cool experience. Okay, and then that evening we'll have a pizza dinner on the farm, and you can see there in the bottom left, she works at the farm. And she is just so lively. She's very concentrated in that picture. She's flipping that dough. She's making sure that we're going to get our pizza on time. But she is just a live wire, and she will just warm your heart with how open she is. You know, when you get back from the day's activity, she's there to give you a big hug and like make a joke as Italians do. And she'll bring our dinner out, and she's just wonderful to be around. The whole staff. Silvana is her name. And day 3, we will help with the olive harvest this morning. So we will actually roll our sleeves up and get the hands-on experience of harvesting olives. Of course, we'll have an olive oil tasting where you'll get to notice kind of the differences between oils and how to choose an oil when you're home trying to buy olive oil. I think we've all kind of gotten overwhelmed in the olive oil aisle, right? Like, which one is actually good quality? What do I look for? Well, and then afterwards we will have lunch at a winery, beautiful winery. That's what you see there in the picture. It's just gorgeous. And then, you know, I always try to leave time in the itinerary for us to just kind of decide, do we feel like going back? Did we drink so much wine that we need a nap stat? Or do we want to wander over to a nearby village and just walk around and see what we see? Do we want to go to a mill, an abandoned mill in the forest where they used to grind chestnuts into flour? Things like that. So we'll choose our own adventure. Here's the olive harvest. And day 4, we will have the morning free. I always like to include some free time for you guys to, you know, if you're constantly moving from A to B to C to Z, then you don't have time to stop and realize what you've just experienced. You need time to let it settle into your bones, to get out your journal and capture the details, or just, you know, sit and watch the light change, for goodness sake. When do we ever sit and watch the light change? So after you have some free time that morning, we will go for lunch at a typical salumeria that you see there. Salumeria is where they do cured meats, but of course they have all kinds of things to eat there, all traditional local slow food products. So you can pile a sandwich high with local products. And then we will visit a medieval village called Scarperia, which I'll show you in the next slide. And there we'll visit a knife museum. So this is a village that is known for its knife making. So since medieval times, it has been the town to go to for handmade knives. There used to be something like, oh gosh, off the top of my head, I want to say it was like 300, maybe even 400 workshops of people making knives. Now there are 2 or 3. But at least we still have these 2 or 3 that we can see. They're keeping the tradition alive, so that's great. So here's Scarperia. The museum is held in that building at the left where you see all those crests from the vicars that came to stay there, the people that ruled the area for a while. And the bottom, that's an old original knife workshop that they have left. It hasn't been remade to create the atmosphere of a workshop. It was an actual working workshop that they left the way it was in, I think it was the 80s is when it was abandoned. Day 5, we will visit an Art Nouveau museum. Art Nouveau is one of my favorite art movements. And this is just a little local museum. It's important because it's dedicated to the Chini family. And this family is particularly Galileo Chini was the father of Art Nouveau in Italy. So he helped bring this style to Italy. He did, the family specialized in decorative painting. So they would paint ceilings and walls in these big fancy homes and palaces and villas. They also did ceramics that are just beautiful. And learning about this this family, the Chini family, is going to help us connect more with what we see in the village, because you'll start to see these details, the ceramics that are used in the town and the area around, the Art Nouveau style that you'll see on buildings and things. And also you'll see it in one of the places that we're staying. So after the Art Nouveau Museum, we will take a quick walk through Borgo San Lorenzo so you can see this cute little town. And then we will transfer to our next day, Maradi, further into the mountains. And we'll check in at the palazzo where we're staying. And then later we will have a cooking class. And so this is Palazzo Toriani where we're staying. I can't tell you how special this place is, y'all. It's so special because you see there it says Storia di 500 anni, history for 500 years. It's really more than that, but this family has been living in this palazzo for over 500 years. I can't even count like 5 generations back, like 500 years. It's insane. And they've kept the traditions alive. The palace itself is just stunning, absolutely stunning. Your mouth will be agape looking at all the hand-painted details, the chandeliers. Every item in the house has a story behind it. And I don't know how they remember all the stories. It's amazing. I'll get more into Palazzo Toriani later, but this is our little cooking class. So on the right there, they're making biscotti. In the middle, they're making meringue, which is meringue, but not the kind we have in the US, the better kind. Of course, it's Italy. What do you expect? Okay, so the last couple of days are planned to be more loose for you to be able to have more flexibility. I have a couple things and visits planned, but nothing major, so that you have time to enjoy the festival. So on Sunday, the annual Chestnut Festival will take place right outside our door. You can literally step out the door and we're right in town, right in the heart of the festival. And chestnuts were really important for the economy and for their own sustenance there in the mountains. So it's really cool to walk around and see all the amazing, unique recipes they've come up with using chestnuts, and just feel the culture and the beautiful atmosphere. They're famous for their marron glacé, which is really a French word, but it's like a candied chestnut. And there at the top right picture, he's making castagnaccio, which is like a thin little how do you describe it? Like a thin bread, flat bread kind of. And it can be savory or sweet. This one you see it's got rosemary and pine nuts, and it's made with chestnut flour. So this is Maradi. I forgot to mention we'll also have an optional walk into a chestnut forest, so you can kind of see what those trees are like. And there's some really old ones there, so you get to see these giant chestnuts. So this is the town right outside the door of Maradi. It's really beautiful. Quaint little village off the beaten path. And so I wanted to show you guys a little video that kind of gives you some insight from, just to let you hear from our guests that have done these experiences to hear what they thought. It has been difficult to set up my screen, so I'm just going to go straight through the accommodations and show you the video at the end. But I'll read you the quote here from Amy. She says, "Creative Edge creates the magic in the trip because of the time they've spent cultivating these relationships. If we'd done this on our own, we would have never experienced Italy this way." So accommodations. This is the first place we're staying, Agriturismo, Poggio alle Ville, and this is a true Agriturismo. A lot of places, they just kind of open up a little room in their home and call it an Agriturismo, but really you're supposed to be actually cultivating crops, and for the true experience, you need to feel like you're on a farm, right? In a farmhouse with the old stone and everything, and that's what this is. And that's the family there, you can see. So this was actually a farm under feudalism, which meant that the workers that lived there in these little farmhouses, they earned part of the crops that they grew and housing, but they were not paid. That's how feudalism worked. A nobleman owned the property and had people working the land and surviving off the land. And then the family has been taking care of the land and this property for over 125 years. Raffaele is the owner now, and his mom was the one to start renovating the farmhouses into places for guests to come and stay. I believe she started back in the 90s. So it's really beautiful. Has a little pool, like I mentioned, a nice pool. And it's nice just to walk around. It's very peaceful. You can see what crops they're growing currently. When we were there in June, they had cherries growing and apricots, and you could just walk around and eat cherries off the tree. Okay, and then Palazzo Toriani. I did want to mention in Poggio alle Ville, the Agriturismo. So they are set up as like little cottages, little farmhouses. So there's 2 or 3 bedrooms in each one and a couple of bathrooms. So I have arranged for everyone to have their own bathroom, but it might be across the hall, that kind of thing, because it's set up kind of family style. But everyone will have their own private room, unless you are specifically asking to share a room with someone. And so that's kind of the setup there. Okay, and then Palazzo Toriani. Don't forget, you guys, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat at any moment and we'll get to them here in just a minute. So the same family, as I said, the same family has lived here for over 500 years. It was actually occupied by soldiers during World War II, and there's still signs of that history throughout the palazzo, which is really interesting. There was also a legendary Chef Martino. Martino was famous because he cooked for this family, and he was known for never serving the same dish more than 1 time a year. So in 365 days, he would only serve the same dish 1 time. Can you imagine? I cannot. I still, every time I'm like, but how? And where's his recipe book? I want that. So this culinary excellence is still an integral part of the experience. Maria Emilia. Hold on. Yeah. I always get confused. The mom is Anna Maria. The daughter is Emilia Maria or Maria Emilia. Oh, I'm confused. It's one of those. But the daughter is really, they're both amazing cooks, but she really creates just super professional desserts and breads and pasta and all the things. I'm always surprised by just like how perfect everything is. So it's really, really cool. Okay. So living slow in Tuscany, there are only 4 spots left right now. We've already started booking for next year. We've already received some bookings for next year. It is an $800 deposit to secure your spot, which is refundable for 2 weeks. If you want to just grab your spot and still think about it and make sure it's panning out, you can do that. And I will drop the booking link in the chat right now. It is so if you are double occupancy, so someone's traveling with you, staying in the same room, it's $36.50 per person. If you're a 1-person single room, it's $38.50. Let me drop this link in the chat. Let's see there. Okay, so you can click that. And the doors close August 15th. So you only have until August 15th to make your decision. I want to quickly show you the video, and then I will jump into questions. So I'm going to stop my share, and then I'm going to reshare the correct screen. This one. Okay. Do you guys see the YouTube screen? Jean, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, cool. Hopefully the sound works and everything. Not sure how it does to share a video, but it should be fine.
Part of the magic with Creative Edge, by taking you to these more unknown areas, I think you're able to really immerse yourself into Italy in a different way.
I think this trip was different. The level of detail, once again, was amazing. I don't think on our own we could have put together such a variety of experiences and gotten basically the royal treatment, behind the scenes tour of several of the locations that we went to.
We have been with Italian locals in every place we've been. And so we've really been able to see things and experience things without the rush of people or without the Americanization.
One of our hosts, Anna Maria, was an amazing human being, so warm and made sure our stay was spectacular and kept coming to the group with surprise after surprise, with the secret tour down to the cellar, or behind the scenes tour that we got in the Palazzo. Really amazing.
We come into the trip not knowing anyone, but very quickly we have commonalities because we've had common experiences.
This kind of tour, this kind of experience, unique experience, attracts similar type of people.
I think the best thing about traveling with Creative Edge was they took away all of the guesswork. They took away all of any concern we had, and they just made it easy. Creative Edge really, they create the magic in the trip because of the time that they have spent cultivating these relationships. If we had done this on our own, we would have never experienced any of that.
Certainly, if you're looking to open your horizons and see an Italy that most people don't get the opportunity to see, this is the kind of trip you need to take.
Che tipo di mucca produce il latte?
We would absolutely recommend this trip, not only to friends, but anybody we meet who said they wanted to experience Italy.
This trip, in one word, remarkable.
You guys seeing the presentation again? Okay, perfect. So, questions. There's just a few that I receive ahead of time from people. So I'll run through those real quick. So the weather, in October in Mugello, you have about a low of 48, high of 70. When we're there kind of mid-October, it should be around high of 65, low of 50. So it will feel cool during, when you're in the shade, or during the morning hours, the evening. And then during the hottest part of the day, when you're in the sunshine, you might be peeling layers off. So it's definitely that layering period. For the arrival and departure transportation, you will need to arrive the day before the tour starts. And this is because it gives you a chance to sleep off the jet lag, get adjusted. If there's something in Florence that you really want to see, like the David or the Uffizi Gallery, the Ponte Vecchio, you have a chance to kind of get those checked off. And then we'll pick you up that the next morning from your B&B. So we'll start off and have the full first day to do things, rather than just kind of getting there all groggy, trying to like interact with the new people while you don't even know what's happening because you're jet lagged. So you'll probably be taking an evening flight on October 15th in order to arrive on August 16th, and then start October 16th, and then start our adventure together on October 17th when we pick you up. And then at the end, on the morning of October 24th, we'll be dropping you at the Florence airport by around 10:30 in the morning. So we recommend booking a return flight no earlier than 1 p.m. to allow plenty of time to get to the airport. If you do book an earlier or later flight and would like your own private transfer to the airport, of course, we can help you arrange this. And let's see. Other questions people sent me. I forgot to mention, in the Palazzo, you have private rooms with the bathroom, your own private bathroom in the room. Some people ask kind of, what are the other guests like? Am I going to be on a tour with people that are like me, or will I have anything in common with them? So the ages are usually a mix. We'll have a 30-something and a couple in their late 40s, and then a few people in their 60s or 70s. So this type of trip attracts similar type of people. It doesn't matter the age. What we bond over is the philosophy of travel that we all share, this slow travel, off the beaten path, meaningful, connecting with local people. So as he said in the video, this type of trip attracts similar type of people, and you quickly have shared experiences to bond over because we're doing activities together, and we're tripping over how to pronounce tiramisu or ciao and buongiorno and these things together. And so we have a quick shared bond that way. And then last, before I turn over to your questions, extension options. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to come to Florence and not really spend some time there and have some time to see it. So if you wanted to create an extension option where you can stay a few days after or before, we can help you set up some unique experiences. You can see here some examples, meeting some of the last master artisans around of their specific ancient craft, visiting farms in the Tuscany, gelato workshop, a cooking class with an opera performance, more wineries, make your own perfume in a historic perfumeria, Italian lessons, all kinds of things. And of course, it doesn't have to be Florence. Anywhere else you would like to go, we can kind of help you figure out what you want to do after our trip together. So let me get back to the screen here, and I will talk about your questions. So Cindy asks, what are the 2023 dates? So 2023, I added an additional day to the itinerary, and those dates, let me pull it up. Give me a second. 2023, no, not that window, hold on. Yes. Okay. So next year's dates will be October 16 through 24. The 16th through the 24th. Okay. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? No questions. Okay. Well, Jean, you came on our Secrets of Southern Italy trip. So if you don't mind, I'd love to hear kind of what your advice would be, or like what your take was on how Creative Edge is different, or just your thoughts on your experience there in the Puglia trip.
Well, it was fabulous. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. It was fabulous. And I want to go on this Tuscany trip so badly. But I think I'm going to have to. Joel says we've got to wait till next year. So anyway, but it all sounds just amazing. And it just like you said, the experiences we had on our trip, and we got to go to people's homes and meet them, and they fed us all this wonderful food, and we got to meet the artisans. Look, I'm sitting here at my desk with my painting that I got there in Monopoly, right? With what's his name?
Johnny.
Johnny, yes. Which I sit here and look at this. I am going to get it on the wall, but anyway, right now it's right here. And anyway, so, and I've just been going through all the 3,000 photos or so, and remembering all the great things that we saw and that we did. And I want to go on all your trips, so I hope you won't get too sick of us. But anyway, Joel says hi. So.
Hi, Joel. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I cannot wait to see you guys back in Italy soon. Yes.
Yes. I just love Italy, as you know. So I'm always ready to come back. We ate our, we didn't make the homemade orecchiette yet, but we used the bag that they gave us at the one hotel. And I just made pasta with it the other day for some friends, and made this lemon tomato pasta, and they were just saying how amazing it was. And I said, imagine if I had made the homemade pasta, they would have really been amazed.
Yeah,
But
I just made the focaccia yesterday. I made the focaccia that we made.
Yes, I haven't tried it. I want to do it so bad, but
awesome.
It was all so good.
Oh, thank you, Jean. Mary, did you have any thoughts or questions or anything you wanted to say? Yeah, I've got to unmute first.
Well, I was just hoping to ask you a couple of questions when we're done. I'm not going to be able to go on this trip, but I'm actually going to Tuscany September 1st of next month, and I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be there a whole month by myself. So I was hoping you could point me to some people that maybe work with you that could actually help me next month.
Stick around at the end and we'll chat for a minute.
Oh, well, thank you. And hopefully I'll see some of you when you all go in 2023.
Yes.
Yes. Gosh, Mary, I'm so jealous. A month in Tuscany. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's my first solo trip. I've never been on a solo trip. And I'm a people person, so it's going to be interesting.
Oh,
you're very brave.
Yeah, I'm very brave.
Well, that was really fun. It was a pleasure to get to share more about the trip with you guys. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see you all on a trip in the future. If you ever have any questions or thoughts or things that would be helpful to you, just send me an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Hope to see you soon.
Yes, we will. All right. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
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 Ciao.